Alrighty, so it's time to review the other game that happened today in the playoffs, and this, of course, is the game, as I mentioned earlier in the last video, is the game that broke my bracket. And this is why I said when I filled my bracket yesterday, I said that most likely my bracket could be gone bust, and it wouldn't take long to do so, and it seems like the second game was the case, because the LA Galaxy is able to move on into the next round, and it's also a result that is the best case scenario if you are the MLS media, because you knew that they want every way for the Galaxy to move on, because they need another El Trafico in the playoffs. Like, El Trafico is what brings the ratings, so why not hope that the Galaxy, of course, able to get the win against Nashville and have another Galaxy versus LAFC matchup, which is exactly what happened in this one. Though, when you look at this game, I think the Galaxy definitely deserved the victory, albeit, yes, it was a slim margin. They, of course, won 1-0 in that one. Overall, they were by far the better team, and for Nashville, I mean, this is why that we have always said before, when you are coming into the playoffs and you heavily rely on one player to carry on the attack, it doesn't always work that well. And in this case, Hani Mukhtar, despite the fact that he has been having an MVP caliber season, really carried this Nashville team for the past couple of seasons, and most likely also going to win the MVP. He was basically shut down for most part of this game, and we said it before, if you can shut down Hani Mukhtar, then this Nashville attack is pretty much dim throughout the game. Though, in the first half, one thing I want to also mention is that Garrett Smith was actually not on the sideline for this game. He actually had some flu-like symptoms, so that's why he wasn't able to be on the sidelines for this one. So instead, his assistant, Steve Groupie, replaced him on the sideline. Though, in the 8th minute, Bond almost had a goalkeeping howler there after he basically kicked it right to Davis. But fortunately, he redeemed himself as Bunbury, who was through on goal there. He unfortunately was denied by Bond, who made a great save here. And that, yeah, already we talk about this before, where, the way that the Galaxy could potentially get themselves eliminated after just one playoff game is that they beat themselves. And they almost beat themselves here, and that I even immediately wrote this Galaxy mistake-prone defense is already shown up in this one. Though, for the most part, they were very, very good for this game, and they didn't really make too much mistake and gave the ball away a lot. But also, it has a lot to do with the fact that, as I will mention later, Nashville was just completely flat on the attack throughout most part of this game. But in the 16th minute, Chicharito has the Galaxy first big opportunity, but he missed just wide from 10 yards out, and he want that one back, because that was a typical Chicharito goal where he basically just kind of gets in a right position, as all poachers do, and he just could not quite stab that one into the back of the net. The Galaxy had most of the possession, but again, the inability to break down this tough Nashville bunker is the reason why they haven't really threatened Willis goal that much in the opening bid. I mean, Nashville, we know that they're a team that is one of the hardest, if not the hardest, to break down when they go into a low block and going to a bunker. And while the Galaxy, this season, they have shown the ability to do very well on the build-up, the final third and the final ball has been a problem at time, and it was definitely an issue, at least in the first half. Though in the 21st minute, Shaq Moore did try to chip bomb from 40 yards out, but missed that one wide, so he was trying to do a Lucas Zarian, but didn't work out that time for him. Before Pooch would put one right to Willis in the 31st minute, and again, the Galaxy, they had the right idea on the build. They look very good whenever they get to the final third, but when it gets to that part, the final third just has not been there. In fact, actually, that kind of doesn't make sense. I forgot to mention the final third and that final ball just been missing throughout this game, and that's why we had to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. Now, in the second half, Bond did deny Mukhtar from close range. Little do we know that was the only sniff that Hani Mukhtar has in this one, because, as I said, I feel like the Galaxy did a really good job shutting down Mukhtar throughout this game, not getting him a lot of good looks. And, in the one looks that Mukhtar has had, this was definitely a great save from Jonathan Bond. I mean, it was from a tight angle, but knowing the quality that Hani Mukhtar has, he only need one chance, and he can buries that one. Though, it looked like we got the opening goal in the 51st minute when Chicharito puts it into the back of the net, but the goal was disallowed as VAR deemed that there was a foul all the way back when Araujo fouled Mukhtar in the box that basically won the ball for the Galaxy, and that's when they go on the attack. And as much as I know that kind of frustrates a lot of people, the fact that, why in the world do we have to go all the way back to a foul that happened maybe like 20 or 30 seconds ago before the development play? Well, the reason why is because, as long as there's no stoppage of play and there's kind of like a continuous play, they're going to, of course, look all the way back and make sure there is not a foul. And again, on this development attack, there was even a hint that maybe that should have been a foul, and that you could maybe even say that if this one does go into the back net, I would not be surprised they go to VAR to check to see whether indeed that foul that happened all the way back before the build-up happened is considered a foul, and it should be a free kick for Nashville, and that's exactly what happened. So Nashville got away with one there, because that was just a lovely build up there for the Galaxy, and once finally found that clinical final ball to get the opening goal. Though Leao did just puts it just wide from long range in the 54th minute before Araujo actually tried to do a little random Leao himself. He tried to do a little shot cross, but it struck the post. But just a couple seconds later, he would get on the score sheet, and what would be the only goal of this game, as he scored from Grandsir and Costa to give the Galaxy a 1-0 lead. Again, the Galaxy finally finding that final ball. And you just kind of had a sense that if they can find that final ball and create those chances, they're going to have a chance to score the opening goal. And that it's not a big surprise. They finally done much better in that, creating some chances and scoring the goal to give them a 1-0 lead heading into the final 30 minutes. Now, Bunbury looked to try to give a response for Nashville, but he puts it over the bar. And, Nashville, again, for most part, they weren't really threatening that Galaxy goal. I mean, most of the chances, Bond really didn't have to do too much and didn't have to make a world-class save to do so. So, knowing the fact that Nashville desperately in need for a goal to equalize, they brought the cavalry as Schaffelberg and Sabon was summoned into this game. By the way, going forward on the attack, it was very strange seeing both Bunbury in this one instead of CJ Sapon, and even their best player Jacob Schaffelberg not in the starting 11 in this game, because besides Mukhtar, I think Schaffelberg has really been the most dangerous player on the attack. So the fact that he was left on the bench in this one, yeah, that is definitely a questionable decision. And keep in mind, I think the starting 11 was made by Gary Smith and not his assistant Steve Grupe. I mean, his assistant was the one that, of course, made the tactics, but the lineup is made by Gary Smith. So again, I'm pretty sure Nashville fans will really question Gary Smith lineup, and the fact that why did they not start the best starting 11 and go with a couple of guys that has been okay in the attack but hasn't really provided much of a spark, instead of guys that that can definitely score the goals like Schaffelberg. Though in Sapon's case, that maybe not be the case, because like I said, he's been one of the most snake-bitten number 9 in the league, and here is a good example of it as he hits a weak shot straight to Bond in the 72nd minute. And again, for the most part, I thought the Galaxy have done a good job in terms of limiting Nashville chance, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that Nashville, they just look flat. Like they just don't know what to do whenever they go on the attack. And I think this is also credit to Greg Vanney, the fact that they didn't let Nashville run wild whenever they go on the transition. If you can slow down this Nashville transitional attack, and if you can force them to have the ball and trying to break you down, that's not exactly the way that Nashville like to play. And I feel like Greg Vanney had a great game plan of slowing down this Nashville defense. I mean, first of all, they always win the ball high up the pitch, not allowing Nashville to quickly go on the transition. And also, at times, they even sit back a little bit, let Nashville trying to break them down. And, knowing the fact that that's not the way that Gary Smith and this Nashville team likes to play, it's not a big surprise. They just couldn't do anything in terms of trying to breaking down a team that might maybe sitting on a little bit of a low, well, I wouldn't say a low block, but more like a mid block, and almost giving them a taste of their own medicine of the opposition decide to kind of sit back a little bit. Though in the 77th minute, Puig did try to ice this game, but he is denied by Joe Willis. That was a great save from Willis, because Puig has hit this one really well, and that Willis definitely still feeling it after that 14 save performance against LAFC. Though in the 89th minute, Sapon would hits one right to Bond from close range before Schaffelberg actually flashed this one wide from a cross. I mean, I feel like that maybe should have been a shot rather than a cross, but either way, it came really close to hitting that top right corner. And I feel like Nashville finally started to show the urgency, but that's kind of frustrating Nashville fans, because why in the world do you finally show urgency when it's like the 89th minute in this game? But nevertheless, you can definitely see the Galaxy. They were definitely reeling a little bit. They're starting to kind of feel the same effect that Cincinnati has, where you're holding on for dear life in the latter moment, hope that you don't give up a late goal to send this one into extra time. Zimmerman had a chance on the header, but he heads it right to Bond before Cabral had a chance to win this game or seal this game for the Galaxy, but because it's Kevin Cabral, it's not going to go into the back net, because like I said, along with Cesar Sapon, Kevin Cabral is probably the most snake-bitten number 9 in the league right now, and the player that has probably the least confident in front of goal out of any striker in MLS right now. And that, again, it's not a big surprise. He hits a weak shot right to Willis. And imagine if Nashville did get themselves the equalizer. Oh boy, the Kevin Cabral hate will definitely be up through the roof. I mean, there's already a lot of hate in terms of him in the Galaxy fan base. Imagine if the Galaxy didn't win this and Nashville gets a late equalizer. That would have definitely been a moment to look back, and another moment where it's classic Cabral. Miss a big opportunity on one end and costing his team on the other. Well, indirectly with the defense kind of collapsing. And even though that has happened this season a couple of times, it didn't happen in this one, as in the end, the Galaxy hold on to win 1-0 in this one. And the shots in this one, 7 shots compared to 9 that Nashville has, 5 shots on goal compared to 4 that the Galaxy had, 4 shots off target for the 2 that the Galaxy had, 1 shot that was blocked compared to none that Nashville has. And possession-wise, 58% possession compared to the 42% possession that Nashville has in this game. And like I said, this was just a game simply the Galaxy were the better team, even though I wouldn't say that they play a spectacular game in this one, but it's just a lot to do with the fact that Nashville, again, they just look lost on the attack throughout this game, whether it's tactically in this one, where they just aren't able to hit on the transition like they love to do when they go on the road, and the fact that their best player, Hani Mukhtar, was pretty much invincible in this one. And again, when you of course have your best player in the league or best player in your team getting shut down, and of course the best player in the league most likely getting shut down, it's not a big surprise Nashville attack was pretty much dim throughout the entire part of this game. But like I said, this is exactly the best case scenario for a lot of these MLS media, and maybe some fans that wanna see another El Trafico in the playoffs. And we're going to get exactly that in the next round between LAFC versus LA Galaxy. And yeah, I mean, I know before I said that maybe El Trafico may be getting a little overhyped or so, but even me, I think it's going to definitely bring some excitement, because the last time we had an El Trafico in the playoffs, it was definitely a crazy game, and I feel like it's going to be the same case in this one when the Galaxy play against LAFC. But there you have it. That is pretty much it for the review of this game. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this game? And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button, and yeah, I of course will see you guys next time.